Save like never before.
That's loud. Hello. Is this loud enough? I got a loop going. All right. Let's adjust some things. There we go. Hello. Michael, welcome. This is. Oh, I don't know if this is still working. Let's find out. Yeah, that's working. Okay. Welcome, everybody. First live stream of 2020. Yeah, I'm excited to get to do this. I actually just got home about 15 minutes ago, so I had just enough time to set basically my, live stream setup up and, get everything going. I'm using a different setup. I finally got this, I used to use a lavalier microphone, and it was pretty scratchy. I think this is better. Yeah, that's better. Okay. I know it's some delay. Sorry. But yeah, so here we are. Tonight I'm gonna answer a couple questions. Not gonna be a really long stream because frankly I literally just got home from work, and so I still have some things to do before I can finalize my own night. So yeah, enough time to crack a cold one. Absolutely. That's the truth. Uh-oh. We having trouble here. What happened here? Maybe? It's buffering. Something happened? Oh, goodness. Why can't this just be simple? Sorry, guys. If you can still hear me. I don't know if you can or not. Come on. If you're talking to me, I can't hear you. I'm sorry. My stuff is not working. Okay, now I'm back. Great. It wasn't working on my end. My Wi-Fi is being sketchy. So today, I had different plans. I had plans to make a mead and talk to you guys and do some stuff with that, but because I got home so late, those plans are not happening. So tonight's just going to be not a super long stream, but I was going to kind of do a bonus quote episode of what's new with mead. So an unofficial one, not really one. I can, I might put it on the podcast. I don't know. So I'd put something out on my Facebook and on the YouTube community page about questions from you guys. And I was hoping, I posted it last night because I anticipated that I might not have enough time to be able to set everything up. And I was hoping that you guys would send me a couple questions that you wanted me to answer. And I want to do it in the form of voice memos or messages somehow. If you can do it through a video, that's fine too. But eventually I would like to have a segment of my podcast that's man-made questions, which is you guys asking questions. And if it's a voice memo, and then I could put it in the podcast, stuff like that. So if you want to send me anything, I also need to update this list. My email is different. It's meadmademan@gmail.com. So I'm putting it in the description right now. Man, if you want to email me any of your questions as far as voice memos, of course you guys can ask them here. That works too. But yeah. Okay. Sorry, I'm having a little trouble today getting everything to work as well. Okay. Question: have you had Schramm's mead? I have not had Schramm's mead. I've obviously heard great things. It's he's sort of the mead grandfather, mead father, that everyone refers to, and so I've never had it before, but I would love to. They actually do ship to Oklahoma, surprisingly. So I need to just go ahead and get on that. A lot of meaderies don't ship to Oklahoma, which kind of sucks. Have you used any amaretti flavors that taste synthetic? None that taste synthetic. Obviously, like I've gotten into some weird ones. Like I have a birthday cake one, and that one is not necessarily like it's not synthetic, but there's definitely like this side of it. You're like birthday cake feels like a weird flavor to have in like a syrup form. So there's like a more mental state than that. Other than that, most taste pretty darn accurate, and that's just because they use generally real fruit extracts. They're not just like other than like birthday cake. You're not using birthday cake extract. So I've had good experience with them, and that's why I highly suggest them. I've used them a lot because they're putting out great stuff, and honestly saving me a lot of money. Because I think back to my blueberry mead that I made. It's been like a year and a half now. When I bought 9 pounds of blueberries and spent like that was like $50 in blueberries because at the time they were super expensive, and that only flavored like probably 4 gallons of mead, whereas like a blueberry flavoring, like I put out my episode today, that thing was like $15. So yeah. Conspiracy Ciders Instagram. I don't know what that is. Have you made any meads with buckwheat honey? No. Last time I just actually bought more honey from Dutch Gold. I bought a pail of mesquite blossom honey because it has like a smoky flavor to it, and I really like it. I looked at the buckwheat stuff. It's a little more expensive, I think, on the Amaretti or on the not Amaretti on the Dutch Gold. You can look on there. It's pretty good though. No, that's Baker's. Let's see. Sorry, I'm looking. I really want to get a big pail of orange blossom because I just recently taste tested one of my orange blossom meads, and from like years ago, and that stuff was fantastic. So I definitely want to get some more of that. Looking for this buckwheat. Oh, it's really not that bad. 100. It's 148 for the pail, and they normally take about. It's like $50 to ship to me. So I don't generally. Buy, I try to use what I can. Have you tried Honey Tree out of Nashville? Nope, I haven't. That sounds good though. That'd be interesting. Any plans on doing a strawberry rhubarb mead? It can be put on the list. The list is growing and growing and growing. So, as how soon that happens, I don't know. Turn your bottle. The world wants to know what you're drinking. This is this is not a mead. I actually have to. I'm I'm training for the full marathon here in Oklahoma City, and so tonight, alongside everything else that I need to do in life, I need to go and run a couple miles. So I figured probably better not to overload on like a 15% mead and then go run and die possibly. This is just a wheat beer I made. It's called Full 405 Wheat because 405 is the area code of where I'm at, and it's just real simple. It's nothing crazy. I didn't put anything weird in it like my other beers. I normally put weird stuff in my beers, but I kept this one simple because I felt like I needed to. Yeah. I'd love to hear some more questions from you guys. What questions do you have for me regarding my mead making experience, generally, or just what do you have in general for all of us? Because this is a good opportunity for you guys to ask questions too and say, hey, I got a question about, has anyone made a strawberry rhubarb mead? And then someone else might say, oh yeah, I've done that. And you never know. It could end up being a good place for us. I'm going to post this on Facebook real fast so we can maybe get some more people in here. We'll see. I should probably get a better, what do you call it? Thumbnail than what I have. beer making harder or easier? It's more ingredients. It's easier in the aspect that you can churn out a beer faster. It's harder in the aspect that you have to make sure and boil everything correctly and do all the hops and do the staging stuff. But I would say mead is easier, in my opinion. You said adding graham crackers to your mead didn't do what you wanted it to. What exactly were the flavors that graham crackers added? I really got more. Well, okay. So I'll take this back a little bit. The graham cracker flavor actually helped more over time, as I noticed with my PB&J mead that I made. It did add some like bready flavor as well as some of the nutmeg and like the clove and the stuff that's inside of like a what do you call it? Graham cracker. It just took some time for some reason. The flavor didn't pop initially. So I think you can recreate it. Honestly, I would try using graham crackers again. It did add some sediment, so I had to lose a little mead in the process, but it's still pretty good. Key lime pie using graham crackers. Yeah, I can see that. What's the best way to clarify? I've used bentonite, not my favorite. Other alternatives, Easy Clear. I've never used it. I've heard it's pretty good. There's things called chitosan, which is something we use in winemaking, and that clears up a mead pretty well. You can get that pretty easily. There's also alternatives of age, which that one kind of sucks because it takes a long time most of the time. And then cold crashing can sometimes pull particles out of suspension. So I prefer cold crashing and aging. I'm not a big fan of bentonite. And the chitosan I've used before in a wine worked really well. Those are my favorite ways. Have you thought about making another braggot? Yes, actually, I'd like to do another one. I just haven't done it yet. I've been making beers. Honestly, I have a couple brews that I make, or I keep at least one or two brews to myself that are not on video. And recently, those have been beers. So I've been doing a lot of beers off video, and so that's been, kind of fine. I made before this beer a cookies and cream milk stout, and that thing was really good. I really like that. So I definitely want to make another one. It's just finding the time to do it now. This is the busiest season of life for me. Ever thought about doing a man-made meet and greet? Yeah, that'd be really cool. I actually did that. I met some people when I was in Minneapolis, and that was pretty fun to meet you guys and talk to a few of you guys. I'm going to be going to MeadCon if you are going to that. Some people might be, some people might not. That's fine. But that is in Colorado, and so I'll be around the Colorado area in spring break, basically. So, if you're around there, catch me. We can hang out. I made several strawberry meads, strawberry rhubarb. It does sound very good. Dried eggshells, I've definitely heard that too. That's an interesting method. I've never tried it. That's something that, like, when I make my Mead Mythbusters videos, I am accumulating these ideas for what to do, and so I won't spoil any future ones. But that would be an interesting one to see which of the clearing agents actually clears the best. So, who knows? What else we got? I think I posted this up here. Yeah. If you want to as well, I'm actually going to put a link to this because some of you guys are. Can I somehow do this? If you want to be a more active member of like a mead community, there's of course the Facebook page, but there's also the Man-Made Mead Makers, which is a Facebook group, and it's been growing really quickly recently, and it's a super cool opportunity to talk like this all the time, just about mead making. And we are at 300 people. We reached 300 people like a week and a half ago, and now we're at like 425 because it's just exploding. So it's really cool. You can go check that out. I'm trying to get a link to it currently. I will say though, if you don't answer the questions to get into the group, they're real simple. It's like, what made you want to make mead? Why do you want to join the group? And then like, do you agree to the rules of the group? I probably am not going to add you just because I've had a couple people be spam bots essentially for that, and that's just not, not cool. I don't really care for that. But I can't find. Ooh, there we go. Share this group. Can I get a link to it? I guess I can't. I can only share. I can't. Oh, that sucks. I can't share it on a. Like, there's no link to it. Go check it out. Facebook.com. Man-made mead makers. Okay. Do you have any mead cocktails you like? I've been mixing some braggots together, like with this beer, and then my orange mead, really good. I haven't really combined a bunch of various meads that I've made before. I can probably try that at some point. I just haven't done it yet. The Chaucer's combination with the IPA, the Lagunitas IPA, was really good. I was a big fan of that. So that's kind of a mead combination. It's a braggot, of course. Other than that, I haven't made any different ones. Let's see. Have you ever tried making a mead using herbs instead of fruits? No, I haven't done that yet. On the list of things to make, I also need to make an official, like, Acerglyn. I'd love to try and make a mead with some hibiscus and do some stuff like that, because I've had a bunch of those. They're pretty good, but I haven't done it yet. That's okay. Anyone know on the flavor mint being lost over time in brew? Yeah, I've definitely heard that. Most of the time, any like spice flavors, in my opinion, my experience, spice flavors tend to get stronger over time. Like my pumpkin spice mead I made a couple years ago. The spice flavors just popping. It's right in my face. But the other flavors, vanilla tends to fade over time. Same thing for mint. All that stuff just goes away. So there's not really a good way to keep it for years and years unless you like oversaturate your mead with that flavor, and then you're kind of stuck with something that has too much flavor that will eventually mellow out. I don't know. That's just my opinion. Flowers. Never used flowers before. I have made, and I love amaretti. Talked about them already. Talked about them already. They have a rose compound that is great, really, really good. And I made a rose mead recently, and I did a bottle giveaway of that, of course, and that was really fun. That mead was incredible. 100% gonna make more of that because it was a solid mead. So I really like that. Let's see, what else? How often do you oxygenate mead after fermentation has started? I recently, I only add oxygen in the first like maybe 2-3 days when the fermentation is really going. After that, the yeast have generally, once you hit the 2/3 or really half sugar break, meaning that most or half of your sugar has been eaten, you don't want to be putting too much oxygen in there because you're starting to get more alcohol content, and alcohol content plus oxygen don't go together. So when there's low ABV content in there, then you're good. So I do it only within the first 2 or 3 days, really not too vigorously. Honestly, recently I haven't even been doing a lot, if any, oxygenating my mead, and it's been successful still. Have you ever thought about, or tried using oak chips cubes? I've used oak cubes before to pretty good success. I've actually had better success with oak spirals in the past. So I definitely would prefer to use those. I'm going to fix this camera because it's bothering me. Maybe. There we go. Okay. That was bothering me. The thing at the bottom. Oak spirals work really well. So if you want to use those, you can get them on Amazon, basically anywhere. Super good stuff. Made a stout with mint, chocolate, and vanilla. What would you pair flavor-wise with a stronger honey like buckwheat in a mead? Honestly, I can't speak super well to that because I haven't used buckwheat before. I haven't really tasted it either. So I don't know the flavor profiles of that honey. So I don't want to mislead you and say that something would be really good if I have no experience with it. So if someone else has some, comment, I'd love to hear what you have to say. Are there any flavors you tried that you'd avoid in the future? I made an orange cream mead, and that was from a flavor from Amaretti. I used way too much of the orange cream flavoring that was totally in my face. I think it'd be better for a beer. And the mead mixture, orange cream, did not go so well. I just was not as big of a fan of that. So that's my biggest one. Other than that, I've had pretty good success with everything else so far. Even like a peanut butter and jelly mead worked pretty well. And of course, there's the one, I can't remember the name of the company who makes it, but it's a peanut butter jelly mead. It's fantastic. So, really, really good. What's been your biggest disappointment in brewing experience? That's a good question. I would say like, it's disappointing. It's a disappointing and exciting that the process of making mead, like you have to wait so long for the mead to be good, not good, but at its best. And so that's a little bit disappointing, but that's also exciting because I like opened up a bottle of one of my meads that's 2.5 years old, just recently, and like the opening it and trying it and like going like, man, this is fantastic after so much age is really kind of cool. It kind of sucks that you have to wait that long. Other than that, I don't know. I haven't been too disappointed. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I'd have to think about that some more. How would you handle lavender per gallon? Oh, taste. Put it in a little at a time, and like let it set for a day. Add some more after that. Let it all mix in. I wouldn't try and put it all in at once because yeah, you're right. It would be like my orange cream mead situation where it's just too in my face. I don't know. I've never used lavender. So I'd assume that rose flavors, though, you can put, not rose, floral flavors you can put more of because they are, I don't know, less strong. If a person cannot get concentrated blueberry syrup, can you use blueberry extract? Yeah, of course. Anything blueberry based that does not have potassium sorbate or potassium metabisulfite, which is a stabilizer or a preservative, is fair game. Go for it. Make something out of it because you'll probably end up with something you like. I hesitate to tell you to put it in the primary because in my experience, most of the flavor loss happens in the primary. So that's just keep that in mind when you're making a mead. I always like to put my fruit in the secondary or primary and secondary if I can do both. But I would wait and make a traditional mead, then add the blueberry extract. Phil Killer, what's up, Meader Man, North Georgia. I can't talk today. Wow, that's cool. Do you have a favorite book that you would recommend for the art of mead making? Food pairing is a big one, but honestly, just the mead maker. I have it in there. It's the book that everybody buys. If you look up mead making on Amazon, it's up there. It's a great book, and it's just the start of all mead making. That's what I would recommend. Oh, sorry, I'm getting lost. We're in OKC. Yeah. We get egg. Man. I have a question. Sorry, I'm trying to find a good question. Have you made a mead with apple juice? Yes, cider instead of water. How did it turn out? I made a apple cider recently. By far it's my second favorite cider or really apple mead I've ever made. I did a gallon of apple juice. It was not all apple juice, by the way. It was a gallon of apple juice, 3 gallons of water, like 12 pounds of honey, I think. So it had a little bit of apple juice base. Turned out fantastic. I also put some real apples with it, so that might have helped the apple flavor. My last time I did a full apple juice mead was the time that I had to throw it out because I used the 14.5% in like 24-hour yeast that's like a turbo yeast. It was not good. Not good at all. Let's see. Hello, Zach. Good to see ya. Have you ever seen or tried using a honey aged in a whiskey barrel? I have not, but it sounds fantastic. I would love to try that. screw top wine whiskey bottles, if degassed and non-carbonated, is okay for long-term storage. If there's any risk of air getting into the mead, I would not use that bottle. So when I actually like screw top wine bottles, I'll take the shrink wrap part off and cork those because the corks fit and it just works. So I very, very rarely will use the screw top again after it's been undone because there's a good chance that the seal is completely broken and you will not get a long-term aging solution. Yeah. These are all great questions. You guys are killing it. Make sure you're sharing your mead experiences with your friends, not just us like this. I think the biggest thing is we're making mead and we're actively getting involved in this thing, but a lot of people don't know what it is. A lot of people know what beer is. It's like, oh, I've had beer before, cool. I've had wine before, cool. But this world of mead is kind of different, and some people just don't always jump right into it, which is fine. It's fair. So you don't bottle with screw tops or swing tops. I don't bottle with any screw tops, especially not beer bottles. Wine bottles, not really. Swing tops, I do have some. I've got a couple really good sealing swing tops, and those things do work well for long-term aging as long as you don't pop them open until you're ready to drink. But I also have some really terrible, like I found some, I thought I was getting a great deal, went to Dollar Tree, found these swing tops for $1 a piece, and I was like, oh, this is a steal. No, terrible. Those things, the rubber seal on them kept coming off. They didn't seal well. It just wasn't great. So unless you have to buy the nicer swing top, bottles before you will get the best result. When is the best time to degas? After initial fermentation? Yeah, I would definitely degas during. Really, you need to start degassing probably whenever your mead hits that like half sugar break. You can just do a little degassing. I would not go too crazy in the beginning of degassing because it's just kind of waking up. So I equate yeast to people because if you're waking a person up, most people at least are probably pretty groggy for the first little bit of their time awake. So if you are degassing your mead within like the first 12 hours, you're trying to mess something up. So I normally wait a while, wait until they kind of wake up more, they fermented some, they got their coffee in them, so to speak, and then you can start poking the bear. Are being mead whey instead of water? Interesting. Yeah, maybe? I don't know. That's interesting. Are there any downsides to adding acidic fruit or flowers like hibiscus to primary? Will it affect the yeast? They can, in my experience. Acidic fruits, depending on the yeast, don't do so well in the primary. However, I know of a bunch of people who've made hibiscus meads, and so I think most people put it in the secondary. But I don't think it's killer. Like, you're not going to ruin your mead. But of course, let us know. Prickly pear jalapeno. Ooh, that sounds interesting. Yeah. Pretty much my friends are beer drinkers, so I don't get much critical feedback. One thing I've experienced, even as being a mead maker and somebody who's like a mead educator in this way, I give out a bunch of bottles. Probably 50% to 60% of the bottles I give out to friends, I never hear any feedback. And I've just kind of learned to live with that because a lot of people honestly don't have a palate, so they don't really know what they're tasting, and that's fair. I understand that. Two is just some people just don't think to respond. So unless you are giving someone you're asking them, hey, will you please tell me what you think? They're probably not going to respond, and that's fair. That's okay. Never tasted mead before, but I made 6 gallons 2 weeks ago. Hope it tastes good. I'm glad I could help you, Magic. Whey mead sounds interesting. How did you develop a palate for mead? I think it's a culmination of beer drinking, wine, even just all the other alcohols. Like, surprisingly, whiskey has been a really helpful thing for me to try because there are different notes you get from whiskey. And so I think just in general, developing your palate comes from your experience in trying different things and critically trying them, not just going, oh, let's just try a drink. Oh, that's really good. It tastes cool. Like you kind of have to say, I'm gonna foam that thing up. Um, you have to say like, okay, what notes am I getting? Oh, I'm getting some citrus. I'm getting some yeasty flavor in there. There's hints of this and that, and you could be wrong. Part of the thing with developing your palate is just going for it, saying what am I tasting, and then if you have a friend or friends who are well versed in that alcohol or just general alcohol, have them taste it too and see what they notice. You never know; they might have some advice, and a lot of times you develop your palate when you hear somebody say, I taste orange notes in this, and then you try it and you go, oh, that's what they're talking about. That's how you develop your palate. Then your brain goes, I equate this to orange notes, so when you try something else, oh, I'm getting the same orange notes that I got from this thing. So it's all just a matter of correlation, really. Looking ahead. Is it hard to tell what's going to age to be good? That fresh brewed mead just tastes hot to me. Generally, everything tastes better with age. And I think what's most surprising to me is even the worst meads that I have, aka like my coffee mead that I made recently. It was pretty disastrous. Did not taste great. Very, very acidic, and I just put too much coffee grounds in it in general, and I did some things wrong, which is fine. But I was like, this thing's not going to be good. Maybe with some age, things will mellow out. 2 months later, I taste tested it. It was better. It's been 3 months since I last taste tested it, I think. So I need to taste test it again and see if it's mellowed out even more. You never know what's going to taste good with age. Generally, it's just your ingredients and how well have you sealed it. So, yeah, I don't know. There's no perfect way to know what's going to be good with age, unfortunately, but that's okay. Did you cold brew the coffee or just put grounds in it? I did a three-way coffee, so I made a traditional mead and then added coffee grounds onto that, and I did the same amount on each one. I think I put like 4 ounces, maybe way too much coffee grounds in hindsight. And then another one, I made a must, put coffee grounds in that, and then let that ferment. The other one I put, what was the third one? Now my brain is flipping. The third one was in the secondary. The first one, was a brewed coffee, where I brewed coffee. I didn't cold brew. I just brewed coffee, then added my honey to that, and surprisingly, that one was probably the best, which is, interesting. They're all combined right now. They're in the same container. So I did that because I needed to consolidate. I have too much stuff happening in my brew room to be setting on 3 carboys of something that might not age super well. I need to cold brew though. All that to say, I should have done the cold brew option. CS Brews or City Steading, they did a cold brew version, and I think it'd be interesting to try that too. So maybe someday. Let's see. I made a traditional wildflower honey D47 yeast. Finish tastes like apple juice. You get notes from different honeys. There's a good chance you got some appley, fruity aromas from that honey, which the D47 does great with traditional meads, but it might have a good pairing to 2 apples or to pull out, extract the apple flavor from, or aroma from certain things. So that could be true. I don't know. It's a good question. Can you still taste the honey characters in the coffee mead? I'm racking my brain now. It was pretty acidic last time I tried it, very coffee-esque. I don't recall a very strong honey character. And I think that's just because coffee is so strong smelling and tasting that it automatically just kind of trumps anything that is not coffee. What's in the works for 2020's meads? Oh, man. Well, I have a ton of amaretti flavorings I'm going to be tasting and testing with. So, without revealing too many, I really want to make some like Acerglyns and do stuff with that because my mixed berry mead that I made, I back sweetened with maple syrup, and it was fantastic. So I really want to make a maple based mead, or an Acerglyn is what it's called. So that's in the works. I'm also revamping some other old recipes, like my blueberry and vanilla mead I made a while back. Really good. Gonna make a bigger batch of that. My biggest problem is that I'm having to make such a big quantity of traditional meads that even with my with my big room, I'm still running out of room. Also bottles too. So like if I made 16 gallons of traditional mead right now, one, I gotta have all the storage space for it. But two, that is, if I did all beer bottles, I don't know what that would be, but that's 180, 192. That could be wrong. 172, something. That is almost 200 beer bottles. So getting that many beer bottles, storing them, that becomes a real pain. So I'm kind of playing with some different things, using more wine bottles and stuff like that. I have some other ideas. I'm trying to also refer to what you guys have done and not just do all of my own projects. How much can water quality affect the flavor? A ton. Like, man, if you go and pull some gross water out of your backyard and try to put honey in it, guess what? You got bad bacteria that just overrun a mead. So that's a problem in itself. Two is if you use like tap water and you're like me, who the pipes in my city are not necessarily the greatest thing in the world, you're going to get some bad lead flavors, chlorines, stuff like that can affect the yeast as well. So use spring water. Go spend the $1 it is per gallon and get some good water. One of the best ways I found to get feedback is barbecue. Yeah, that's true. Would you recommend using RO water to brew with? Maybe. I don't know. I don't have experience using, like, comparatively. Have you ever done a side-by-side comparison of the flavor difference when you add fruit to the primary versus secondary? I've done it with pineapples before. It was really interesting because it's been a year and a half now since I did that. But there were some character differences. I got different parts of the pineapple flavor to pop with the primary versus secondary. So there's a video of that if you want to go watch that. So it does matter. It does make a difference. Eventually I'll do another one of those. The problem is there are so many fruits that I could do that test 1,000 times and still not hit every single fruit. Thoughts on bottle carbonation and pasteurizing? Worth the danger? I bottle carb all my beers. I've bottle carbed some meads recently. As long as you do it in a scientific manner, meaning you understand how much sugar content to put in. Generally, I go off the basis of, like, when I make my beers, there is the priming sugar for bottle carbonating, and that is like 100 grams of sugar. Maybe. I don't know if my math's right there. Anyways, so I try and equate out how much that would be. So that's like 20 grams of sugar for a gallon, and to carbonate it. So now I'm trying to, hopefully I'm right on that number, but I bottle carb a lot. I don't do a lot of pasteurizing though. So. Also, I see you're drinking out of highball glasses. What's your opinion? I'm not a glass snob. I mean, you could do it. That's fine. Get whatever glass you want to drink out of, but I just don't. Mead is mead for me right now. Yes, it changes at different temperatures and when it has a snifter and yada yada, but I don't know. I could care right now. Oklahoma or Ozarka. Ozarka is the best. Hello, Blue Slushy. Have you used coconut water in a mead? I have never done that. Seems like an interesting thing, as long as it doesn't have any preservatives, of course. Another one to try. It seems like it'd just be like using a juice base for your mead, but who knows? I don't know, that's for sure. If you are interested, by the way, there is a giveaway live on the channel. You can go and check that out. That is that will go up till this next week. So if you want to be a part of the possibility to win my blueberry bottle of mead, then you might want to go do that. I was wondering. Oh, water from a refrigerator filter. There's a good chance if it's been used a lot, then it might not be great. So I don't know. Who knows with that? Thoughts on raisins as nutrients? um, I think I could sum it up in probably the quote: "Man cannot live on bread alone. Yeast cannot live on raisins alone." Does that work? I don't know. Thanks for your questions. Love the channel. I've been brewing for 4 years. Oh, I'm glad I could help out, Rob Van. Thank you. Cherry or blueberry? Would you prefer? Ooh, blueberry for sure. I like blueberry. There's a good character. There's a sweetness to blueberry that I really like, especially if you get the good side of a blueberry. So cherry's good as well, but I equate cherry more to actual wine than I do like blueberry. I know blueberry wine is a thing, but I just don't equate them in the same manner. So yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. All right, I'm wrapping it up in about 5 minutes. So if you have any more questions for me, let me know. Otherwise, I'll have to take care of my other things happening in my life tonight. Unfortunately, this was not as long of a stream as I want, and I apologize. But this is one of 4 streams that's going to happen this year. At least 4. I'd like to do more. And now that I have a nice setup for a microphone, I feel a little more confident doing it. It's just finding the time. And again, this is literally the most busy week of my life. Thank you, Kitchen Playground. I appreciate that. It's kicking my butt, that's for sure. My legs hurt. Have you ever done a blueberry and raspberry? Not both. I've done separately, and they both came out really good. It'd be interesting to do a mixture. Pineapple coconut water with a little lime. Interesting. Yeah, that seems like its own cocktail in itself. Justin, I'm glad I can help. I just appreciate getting to help you guys and hopefully educate you. And this is a lot of fun for me to do, to make these videos. I hope that you are getting stuff out of them, whether it just be that you see recipes that you want to try, or you see, hey, don't do this, or you feel inspired in some way. I'm hoping in that manner, because I enjoy getting to do it. I'm doing the Memorial, yes, doing the 12K and training in this weather. Yeah, it's been nicer recently, the past week, but the cold has been pretty crappy. Man, you guys are really nice. Thank you so much for your nice comments. That's really, that's helpful. Boomer Sooner. Honestly, I'm going to make someone mad. I don't follow a lot of football. I'm not a big sports guy, so I find myself spending most of my time doing this. So when I'm not teaching and I'm not brewing or doing music stuff in general, I'm probably just editing a video. So I don't have a lot of time to watch sports, even stuff like the Oklahoma City Thunder. I don't really follow them. But there are definitely a lot of people who follow the football world and everything like that. Have you ever done mango with real mango slices? Wait, hold on. No, I have not. I've done mango 2 ways. I've done it in a puree form. It was my first one I ever made. It was a mango puree that I got from a brew shop, and it turned out okay. It didn't have enough mango flavoring in the mead to really flavor it. The mango flavoring from Amaretti that I used was really good. In fact, that's one of my friends' favorite meads, because it tastes really like a juice, but it's 13%, so it definitely hits you. So they really like it. Try mango chili lime sizer. Wow, yeah, that's a lot. I know people are combining different names like Bochet, Hydromel, whatever, Acerglyn, craziness. There's a bunch of different stuff. So That, you know, that's not, obviously, those are styles of mead, but mango, chili, lime, sizer has a lot of words happening with it. So, yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for your time, for tuning in. I will be back with more content. Of course, on Thursday, there's going to be a video, and I'll be announcing the giveaway winners, of course, for all the giveaways. So make sure you're following that. I hope that you have enjoyed this. And, you know, feel free to talk to each other in the comments and communicate. Go join the Man-Made Mead Makers Facebook group if you want to continue this train. We get to talk all the time about mead making, and it's a lot of fun. So hope you've enjoyed. Have a great night. Enjoy your Monday night. And I'll see you guys in another stream, another video. Who knows? We'll find out. So, all right, guys. See you later.